in your team, all officers in the loop. Always send email. For the official officers, keep them in the loop. Never leave them out in the dark for some of the decisions. That way you make them feel welcome. And you can also sometimes delegate for certain 2 or 3 officers. You're going to do like a certain team meeting or our anniversary meeting. We had a group of 2 people doing it, and they had to communicate constantly. So that's what you have to do. Always communicate with your closest or the official officers of the club. The third role is policy maker. For this one, I'm going to go not through all of them, but just to mention really quickly. Oh, by the way, right at the end, you don't have to write any of this. At the end of the slide, I'm going to give you where all this information is and where you can find it. And what we're trying to do is, you can get out of this meeting, out of this class, something you can use in your club right away when you get back. This one is more one of the official slides. Policymaker, you always have to follow the rules and constitutions of Toastmasters International. For this one, if you read all of them, there's about like 400. You don't have to read all of them, but as long as you have a good behavior, that's the only thing I can say, you're fine. Set the rules and guidelines with others specific to the club. Always try to get your officer support, whatever you do, because you as president, if you take one decision that your officers do not agree and they don't know, then you're going to be in trouble. So whenever you want to set a rule, like in our case, we reach max capacity of the room, we have only 30 seats. Sometimes we had 32, 34. One of the rules was, should we restrict visitors to our club? And you have to ask your officers, what are we going to do? We'll reach the capacity where we need. The fire guidelines might tell us that we should not only the ones that have a seat. So that was a problem. The next one is, when you interact with members of the District 37, you're always going to get emails and a lot of official communication. Keep good relationship with all of them. You never know when you're going to need them in terms of a future meeting. Sometimes it's really hard to read all the emails. And believe me, sometimes you will get bombarded a day, like 3, 4 emails. During the weekends, you might get 10. If you have the time, try to see the closest officers to you, your area governor, which is very important, and communicate back and forth with them. Never ignore them. That's what we're trying to do in this one. The same for Toastmasters International. This one, you always get the letters from Toastmasters International, and just read them. Most of the time, they will never ask you anything directly. It's just for you to read. If there is any new regulation, you can tell your members. Always, this is very important, always vote on behalf of the club for the leaders of the organization. Never leave that opportunity. Even if you don't attend any of the meetings, like some of the upcoming spring conference, where you vote for new officers, send the proxy or somebody to vote from your club. Always interact with community members and sponsors. In our case, we have a sponsor, which is, you guys are going to laugh, but it's Red Bull. And they send us email back and forth. I always ask them, hey, would you like to speak in front of our members? Would you like to promote your product since you are giving us for free? They say, no, we don't want to do that, but if you can just mention it, sure. So that's what I do in the meetings. Say, we have a sponsor, which is Red Bull for free, drinks for free for all the meetings. And interact with community members is about the same. Assist other officers and members. You as president always have to be looking for your officers, in particular for the vice president of the education. That one, always try to make sure that he's on top of your members, keeping record of all the awards of your members. There are 5 steps of delegation you as a leader. I strongly recommend this one because otherwise you're going to be overwhelmed like me. I'm the one who's most of the time doing most of the things, and delegate, there's 5 steps. The first one is, what do you want to delegate? One of the things I do is keeping track of visitors. That one was one of the first ones I delegate. Always choose any task that you feel anybody of your officers is going to be able to do. Never take it on your own. Decide who will do the task. In this particular one, you have to see which one of the officers is going to be capable and available to do it. Also, you need to assign responsibility. In this particular case, when you choose somebody, tell them, hey, you're going to be the one doing it. Don't drop it. And always have to be on top of that person. Kind of with friendly reminders. And of course, establish accountability that that person does it every single time for each one of the meetings. There's 4 steps for successful coaching. And for this one, not to go through all the 4 steps, but one of the things that we do is always identify your goals. In this particular case is to become our member distinguished. There's 5 of the 9 awards that we need to get. And that's one of our goals for our club. Sometimes we have other goals like getting our anniversary meeting or getting some of the members to become CCs or CL. That's another one you can set. Always set a timeline. How are you going to do it by the time? Say it's going to be before March in our case, which is the cutover for the awards. And of course, you have to follow up and stay in contact. For this one, I'm not going to go into detail because we need to move on. But the executive committee are your officers. Always get them involved. This is one of the most that you're going to get probably pushback. Some people do not want to get involved into the officers.